it worth it? Well, today I'm going to walk you through all the challenges and problems I've had with this robot over the last couple months, and at the end of it all, I'll give you my honest opinion.
Welcome back to crunchlabs. I'm Mark Rober, and I'm so stoked that you're here because it means you're in possession of the very first HackPack box, which is a very big moment. Now, of course, at crunchlabs, we got the build boxes, which are for ages 8 through 12, but the plan from the very beginning was to have a second set of boxes that were for like teenagers through adults. And we basically send you a robot in a box every time that you would put together to prove that it's not only pretty easy to code, but if you have the right robot, it's actually incredibly fun. And with this build, just like the others that will be coming in subsequent months, I'm almost jealous of the ways your brain is gonna grow because I love those aha moments where something just clicks and it makes sense. And trust me when I say, you got plenty of those coming down the pipeline, even if you've been coding for a bunch of years.
And so with that, this is the IR turret. It is a marvel of a robot that shoots an arsenal of 6 darts at the push of a button, along with using these 3 servo motors to move in virtually any direction. And this thing works right out of the box. However, you can customize it further by logging on to the crunchlabs coding IDE site and updating the brainboard to do virtually anything you want. And they even have some preloaded coding options to add, like this random roulette code that spins the turret around and shoots darts at random times, and if you happen to be the target, then you're out. So with my build assembled, and after watching Mark's crash course on Arduinos, it was time to do some code. But that was when I had a problem. The provided coding site was not connecting to my turret. In the instructions video, Mark said all you had to do was plug the turret into the computer using the provided USB cord, and the site would recognize it as connected. But mine was totally blank. No matter the cord or even the computer I tried, it would show no sign of connection. And after a couple of hours trying different combinations, I couldn't find what was wrong. I then turned to any on-screen instructions I could find, and even had a conversation with the AI helper Mark Robot to try and figure it out. Sadly, AI was no help at all, but digging further into the on-screen instructions and links did produce a possible solution. The question mark button led me to a page that explained how the computer needed a certain software installed in order for it to recognize the brainboard. And once you downloaded this agent software, you would need to modify it by adding a special crunchlabs code. So after a couple more hours of struggling with that program, I finally got it up and running, but it made absolutely no difference. A week passed, and I was still puzzled over what to do. I read their help flowcharts, scoured the crunchlabs Discord, pressed every button, and tried every combination possible, but it was no use. As of right now, HackPack does not seem very user-friendly at all, because I had to dig pretty deep to find something that is not only essential to the build connecting to your computer, but was also never mentioned in the instructions video. And so now my very last hope lied in contacting the crunchlabs help team in hopes of getting some assistance, and then all that I could do was wait. But I wasn't just going to let this coding backup stop me from improving the rest of the toy, so after a few... Well, that was fast. The email, sent by Tom, gave a list of possible solutions to my problem. The first being, do not use Safari for the IDE site or it will not work. Okay, to be honest, I did read this in the crunchlabs Discord, but I thought it wasn't a very big deal. So, I downloaded Firefox, and I found the software on there. And now we're going to see if our HackPack connects. Malicious luck. Yes! Yes! Yes, that worked! Oh my god. Yes! 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 Good. Good, good, good. And once again, thank you so much to the crunchlabs help team, especially Tom. You are all the best. And now I'm also happy to report that since then, they've updated the IDE page to alert you when you log on that you will need to download their software and then walk you through all the steps. So now that I'd finally gotten my turret working after weeks of trying, I went back to the crunchlabs Discord to see if there were any new announcements. And let's just say I may have been a little behind in terms of improvements. It had taken me weeks just to get to this point, while all the real geniuses had already put wheels on this thing. Who does this? But anyhow, I needed some banger ideas. Fast. So I decided to bring in my brother Isaac, my friend Isaac, don't get them confused, and my friends Jaden and Riley to see if they could help me out. And after some short consultation sessions with each of them, I had come out with 3 killer improvement ideas. For starters, Jaden thought it would be cool if the turret had a laser pointer on the front. That way you can more accurately aim and have an increased chance of hitting the target. Now I know Mark already suggested this in his launch video, but that doesn't make it any less cool or useful. Next, the Isaac thought upgrading the turret barrel and the darts would be beneficial, and suggested using mega nerf darts and replacing the barrel with a longer paper tower roll. This way you could store more energy on the rubber band and in turn make the darts fly faster and further. This design also allows for the creation of multiple sets of barrels and darts to make reloading a less strenuous task. And for our third and final idea, Riley wanted to modify the code itself by hacking one of its systems. Her plan was to hack the roulette code so that it would look randomized in its firing, but in reality, only shoot at one person. And even though this sounds simple, little did I know this in particular would be extremely challenging and drive me to my breaking point. But now it was time to get to work on the improvements, so after ordering the laser pointer and nerf darts, I gathered up all the required resources, and once the package arrived, I put it all together with this 20-second build montage. And after a couple weeks, this was the result. Meet Perry, the orange and teal, totally original IR turret, which now has a longer barrel, more advanced darts that fly faster and farther than their predecessors, a laser pointer to ensure precise accuracy, and special preloaded arsenals to eliminate the possibility of ammo shortage during battle. In essence, this is Agent P, but in robot form. However, to create this semi-robotic dart-firing menace, there were some difficult challenges along the way. In the original design, the darts had this little plastic ring sticking out of the bottom. This way they could attach to the base of the turret, but easily be released when passing over this bump. However, the new Nerf darts were completely smooth all the way around, and how to attach them to the base stumped me for a while. That is until I found these things. I'm not sure what they're called, but you can twist them into the styrofoam and there is a ring on the end which fits perfectly into the base. They are also a lot stronger than the plastic rings on the original darts that were starting to crack. Then the next phase of the plan was to take 3 paper towel rolls, because they fit perfectly on top of the original barrel, and recreate the base which holds the bottom of the darts to attach to the other 2 rolls. Now this is a lot easier said than done, and after trying cardboard, which was an obvious failure, and then plastic with skewer sticks, double failure, I was miserably failing. But that's when I remembered on the turret landing page there is a link to 3D printable parts, with one of them being the base piece I needed. So after a few days, I located a supplier to print the parts, and then a few days after that, they arrived. And the quality of these parts was excellent, and they fit perfectly onto the turret. So I left a link in the video description to the supplier that I used if you want to check it out. So now with 2 out of the 3 improvements brought to life, all that was left to do was hack some code. Now, let me tell you, in hindsight, I hugely underestimated the difficulty of this task. At first, my plan was to modify the existing roulette code by telling it to only fire a dart when it faced a certain direction. And not being educated in code myself, I asked Mark Robot if he could help. And after a couple of hours trying to get the code I desired, nothing was working. Every time I tried uploading something to the brainboard, all of these errors would just pop up. And so I would plug them into Mark Robot, who would tell me what was wrong, I would fix it, then 1,000 other issues would pop up. And this went on for a week, and I was super frustrated because I felt helpless in fixing the problems. Sometimes what Mark Robot said needed to be fixed made sense, but sometimes he would just say things like this. And if you tried to make sense of that by asking follow-up questions, it would just turn into a rabbit hole and you'd forget what you were trying to do in the first place. And the worst part of it all was that Mark Robot seemed to forget every time he wrote a code for me. So every time there was a problem, he would act like it was my fault. And on top of all that, I was also on a time crunch. I only had 3 more weeks until I would meet up with my friends again to show them their improvements. And this meant having the code ready for Riley, which was something I wasn't sure could happen. But as an engineer, giving up is not an option. So I decided to abandon the idea of modifying the existing roulette code and just spell out exactly what I wanted the turret to do, step by step, and then have Mark Robot write a new code for me. However, issues were still popping up when I plugged it into the coding sketch. So then I just copied and pasted the entire coding sketch into Mark Robot and had him add the new code himself. And if there were any issues, I would just give him back the code and tell him to fix all the problems inside of it. And to my surprise, he would always give me back the fixed code and a list of all the mistakes inside, even though 30 seconds ago, he gave me that code and said it would run perfectly. But after a couple more tries, Mark Robot ended up giving me an error-free code, and this allowed me to get some actual code onto the turret brainboard. But now it was an issue of refining the code and getting it to do what I wanted to. Now from here, I ran into a ton of other problems that I won't bore you with. But after almost a month of wrestling with this program and only a couple days left before my deadline, this was my final shot to make it work. I think I just got our not-so-random roulette code to work. So I told Mark Robot to modify the roulette code so that once it fires a dart, it will always move back to position 1 before firing another dart. He only shoots at position 1, but he doesn't move around. Let's see if it can modify this code. Try number 2 on random roulette. Yes, that was position 1. All right, do it again. Yes! Yes! Oh. Well, whoopsie daisy. Now it's just a game of trying to get AI to understand what I want to do. No. The most frustrating part is AI's doing all of this. Like, I don't even know what could be wrong. Please work. I've been at this for 2 hours. Just today. Probably like 10 hours altogether. Alright, once again, I don't know why it's taking me this long to figure this out. It's been weeks. It's not turned on. I hate HackPack right now. I have been fiddling around with that stupid code for like 15 hours. And I don't know how to change stuff, because whenever I change one thing, then it's got like 1,000 problems and then nothing works. With Mark saying that you don't need any experience coming into this, that doesn't seem fair. Something as simple as just modifying an existing code is too complicated, which sounds so stupid. I don't know if I'll be able to do this. Okay guys, listen to this. It's been 7 weeks or something just trying to get this stupid turret to work. And finally, I got this code in here. So watch this. I want it to only shoot at the curtains. Let's see if this works. Gosh. Oh my gosh! Yes! Finally! It works. That is amazing. I'm not sure I can touch code again. That was traumatizing. But yes. We did it. We did it. Good job. And I figured this thing out just in time because the very next day, our friends were back for a little game of random roulette, but with an unexpected twist. Alright, are we ready? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. And as you can see for yourself, Riley's plan worked flawlessly. And so with that, it's time for me to rate the experience overall. And I think I would give HackPack only 3 out of 5 stars. And this is mostly because of my not so positive coding experience. The robot itself is fantastic, and the potential you can do with it in regard to the coding is insane, but coding is not as easy as they make it sound. I came into this as a level 1. I had never attempted to read or understand any code whatsoever. And HackPack seemed promising because Mark said,
if you're coming in this as a level 1, I want to try and get you to a level 2. And if you're starting as a level 2, I want to get you to a level 3.
But I think that is the problem. The current state of their IDE page is definitely navigatable from the perspective of someone experienced, but I was completely lost. Not knowing the language of code made it very difficult to understand what each line was specifically doing, even with the explanations on the side, because they only said what the code did and not how it executed it. I relied heavily on the AI tool Mark Robot, and he was very helpful in troubleshooting problems and answering questions, but he still did not have all the answers. I think if crunchlabs really wants to make this a true success, they need to either make a simpler coding page for beginners, or better yet, a short crash course on coding similar to their one on Arduinos. That way people like me would be able to read and understand what all the code was doing. Then we could write our own code independently, instead of just asking AI to do it for us. Because that's what I did, and let me tell you, I really don't understand coding that much better than I did coming into this. Sadly, Mark's goal of getting me to level 2 failed. But only so far. Because remember, this is just box 1. And maybe over the next few months and build boxes, I'll become more familiar with coding. But only time will tell. So be sure to subscribe if you want to see how this all turns out, and I'll see you next time.